The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
And this portion of the Coaches Show is brought to you by Dr. Automotive, the cure for your car. Professional auto repair and maintenance from ASE certified mechanics and master mechanics. Check them out online at autorepairsmyrna.com. And joining me on the show now is Mack Hawks, the head coach of the Oakland Patriots. And Coach, we're already starting. We're going full guns here, and we're going to talk a little Oakland Patriots. And I guess we'll kind of talk about the infield and the pitchers and the guys you've got coming back. And as always, it's going to be a tough little schedule ahead as we get ready for district play.
Yeah, I mean we've started, and it's these first 2 weeks before we start the district play with Siegel. It's a lot of baseball games, but hopefully that's going to prepare us and see some really good pitching throughout these next 2 weeks, and get us ready to play them here the third week.
To tell me a little bit about your the pitching this year, because that's always really important in having enough starters to make it through and that kind of thing. So let's start with the pitching staff.
Well, I mean, our pitching, I think, really could be our strength of our team this year. We've got some depth, and we've got some guys that have pitched the last 2 years and have got some important innings under the belt, and we're going to rely on them heavily. And I feel like our bullpen's good with guys that we can count on to come out of the bullpen. And I feel like that's part of our strength of our team this year.
You had some pretty good pitching last year, and you've got some people up front that you go with in game one. You got to have that one guy, don't you?
Yeah, I mean you got to have a guy that's going to give you some length there in that first game, because you don't want to have to go to your bullpen too early in that first game of a district series.
Do you have a lot of guys now? When they don't pitch, will they be playing other positions?
We have a lot. Yes, we have a lot of guys that pitch and will play other positions this year for us too.
The going around the infield, if you would, just kind of tell me a little bit about who's looking good up to this point.
Well, if we start behind the plate, we've got 2 catchers, Will Trammell, Sr., who's been our starter, so far, through these first few games. Jacob Gallinat is also has caught some, and they will do the majority of the catching this year, probably in our varsity games. We do have a freshman, Mason Hargrove. Feel like could be a good catcher for us down the road. When we feel like he's ready to go, but. Those 2 guys, those 2 seniors right now will do the majority of our catching. First base, Andrew Carver. He did not play last year, but he has really done a really great job for us so far. He's hit the ball well, and really good defensive first baseman. At second, Caden Wayman, a junior, and Carver's a junior. Caden Wayman's a junior. Been steady defensively and has hit well for us so far in these first few games. Shortstop is Asher Evans, sophomore, played a lot last year as a freshman. Is going to be a really good player for us. Real steady defensively, and he'll bat in the leadoff spot or 2 spots, somewhere in that order. Third base has kind of been a rotation of guys right now. We really hadn't settled on one. Carson Pack has played over there, senior. Paxton Wilt, another senior, has played over there. Braxton Griever, a sophomore, has played there. So it's just kind of been a rotation there. Kind of depends on who's pitching, and but we hadn't really settled in on a starter there at that position. Left field, Elijah Avalar, who played a lot last year for us, senior. Chris Richardson in center field, played a lot last year, had a really good junior year last year. Right field, Braxton Griever right now usually has played the most innings out there so far, although we've got some other guys that could move in out there, could play some. Stephen Banansky, Andrew Carver, who I mentioned at first base, could move out there and play some for us. Our DH role, again, that's kind of like third base. It's been a kind of a rotation. And it may be a rotation for a while, just to see who kind of gets hot at the plate and swings it good for us. But we've got several guys that's been kind of rotating there. So that's basically our outfield, infield positions, and our catcher. If we go to pitching, we have to start there with Patrick Freeman, a junior, who's probably pitched him along with Carson Pack. The last few years have pitched a lot of important innings for us and have been mainstays for us. But we've got some other guys that are coming along and pitching real well for us. Andrew Carver came out of the bullpen last night against Cookville and really pitched well for us. He did a really good job. Braxton Griever came in relief last week against a really good Webb team and pitched really well for us. Brody Huddleston pitched against Upperman last week, another junior. Pitched really well for us in that game. Asher Evans, that plays short, he's going to be probably our short relief guy, closer type. Throws the ball really well for us. So those have kind of been the guys so far. I mean, we've got some other guys too that once we get through these tournament games, and then we got the series with Siegel, and then we got the next tournament with Riverdale tournament, Warrior Classic.
And
several other guys that'll probably see roles there that'll get plenty of time on the mound also.
We're talking to Mack Hawks here on the show, head coach of the Oakland Patriots. And when I look at high school baseball, there's a lot of moving around. There's a lot of position changes. It depends on who's pitching and who's not, and because a lot of those pitchers can play positions in the field, and they're pretty valuable to have when somebody else is that going to be the case this year? Pretty much, because I know a lot of people do that.
Well, I mean, it's if you can do both, I mean, you're going to do both. I mean, it's just. If you're a good enough athlete and you can pitch and you can play a position, I mean, you're going to do both. But, I mean, over the years that I've coached, I've had really good pitchers that were just pitchers. I mean, they were pitcher onlys, and they did really well. And they focused on their pitching, and that's what they did. They knew when their game came, they were ready to go, and that's what they did. Going back and forth between a position and pitching, you just kind of got to be careful with their arms, especially if they're infielders, where they're throwing a lot, and you just kind of got to watch them and be careful with that. But it seems like the last few years we've had more guys that pitch and also play a position than those that just are pitcher onlys. But we've got some of those guys too. Another guy that I didn't mention on the mound too is Tyler Veron. He just got out of basketball, so he's kind of working his way into baseball and he's a pitcher only, and he's going to get some quality innings for us too. But it's a good mix with guys that we have this year.
The name of the game, I guess, is pitching and defense. Really, I know last year I felt like you were pretty young, and you still got some youngsters, but they do have they have a year under the belt, some sophomores, and that's got to help too to have that experience coming back.
Oh, it definitely helps. Our pitching, I felt like last year our pitching was our strength even last year, even though those guys were young. And, like I said, they all saw a lot of quality innings in district games and then district tournament. And, hopefully it's going to pay off, this year.
And one of the things, Mack, I think that concerns every coach is you got to stay healthy too. I mean, that's a big issue too.
It is. It is a big issue, and it seems like nowadays kids play more and more baseball. They play all summer. A lot of them play all fall, and they're doing things in the off season. Sometimes they don't get enough rest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, and I think you're starting to see more injuries just because they play a lot more now.
It's almost year round, isn't it? I mean, really. I mean, the time they get through all these travel balls and all travel ball teams and all that.
Oh, it's definitely year round. I mean, it's we're not playing year round, but our players are playing year round. Like I said, if they're not playing summer ball or fall ball, a lot of them, go to lessons and do all that, and it's just it's a year-round sport for sure.
Mack, I wanted to talk a little bit, not quite off the subject, but a little bit. I know how many years have you been at Oakland coaching now?
This is 36 in baseball.
Wow.
I've been at Oakland 38, but this is my 36th in baseball.
So you started really young, didn't you?
I was pretty young.
Yeah.
I started in '90. That was my first baseball season.
I wanted to say, I was talking to Jamie Carver earlier, and he mentioned Brennan, and it's a real compliment to you, but that what he said about him, not as a baseball player, but as a human being, as a person. And I know you're proud to hear that about some of the players that you coached, because that was a very special team you had with Brennan. And I know that has to make you feel good when you hear stories like that about what they've become, and an excellent baseball coach in his own right.
Well, for sure. I mean, that's your ultimate goal. I mean, I tell my players all the time, you hope when they leave here or when they finish their careers that they've learned baseball. But I think, as a coach, you want to stress and, make sure they learn to be good people and be good teammates and good family guys. And, long after they're gone from Oakland baseball, because, baseball's going to end. No matter how far you go, it's going to end at some point for everybody. And, being a good person and being a good teammate, to me, that's the main thing, and the main thing that you want to stress and teach to your players. And those guys I've had a lot of them. I mean, it would take me hours to just talk about how many I've had, but I've had a lot of guys that have gone on, and now they're out of baseball, but they're teachers, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're just they've got all kinds of jobs. They've been very successful in life, and that's the thing as a coach you love to see.
And how has the game changed since from 36 years ago? Have you seen a major difference with it? I know the travel ball thing is much more prevalent, but have you seen any other changes in the game itself?
Oh, I think baseball in the mid-state. I mean, and you can go statewide, but especially just here in Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee. I mean, there's not many bad baseball teams anymore. I mean,
right.
It seems like everybody you play are competitive. They're well coached. They're they work hard, and I think it's just there's just more good baseball players around now, and it's just the talent level has really risen since I started. And back when I first started, I mean, if you had a pitcher that threw 85, that was exceptional. Now that's very average now. Now guys are in the 90s, and that's exceptional. But it's really changed. It's really changed a lot.
In our district too, and I'll let you go after this, but in our district, where you used to have two high schools, maybe three, now you've got what, 8? I mean, it's and they're all really good. I mean, it's the competition is much, much tougher, I think.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it is. Like I said, it's there's a lot of good players. Coaches do a great job. I mean, I have respect for all these guys around here that we have to compete with. It's just good baseball. I mean, like when I started, a lot of coaches did baseball on the side just to, make the extra money. They were maybe coached football or basketball, and they did baseball on the side. But it's not like that anymore. Your baseball coaches are baseball coaches, and there's not many programs. I don't know many that don't do it year round. They don't work at it. And, you got weight room. You got fall now that we can practice 10 days. You've got all the things throughout to get prepared to, in January and February to get to the season in March. I mean, it's just guys working year round. So it's, baseball is very good, and it's not only in Murfreesboro but in the Middle Tennessee and statewide.
Well, I'm planning on having a show one night where we have every coach and we have a big round table and we all talk. I think that would be tremendous. I know you've got several hours you could talk about your career, and you got Revis too and all those guys. I mean, it would be a great show, but unfortunately we don't usually have the time to do that. But good luck the rest of the way, and we'll be seeing you soon. Now, the hamburgers will still be cooking, won't they? And the hot dogs?
As far as I know, they will be.
All right. Well, save us a seat. We'll be there soon, okay?
Well, I appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Yes, sir. That's Mack Hawks, the head coach of the Oakland Patriots. This portion of the show has been brought to you by Rick Hall with Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna. Give Rick a call for auto, home, business, and life insurance needs. Find out more online at rayburn.net.